Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Back again for another session with the Gathering of Christ Church. By now, most of y'all know who we are up in this neighborhood right here, but for those that's passing by, we represent the Church of Christ, but we bring a doctrine that's a true doctrine that's coming straight out of the Bible. We not only use the Bible, but we use the 14 books that were taken out of the Bible that were called the Apocrypha. These are some books that was taken out of the Bible in approximately 1885, about 20 years after slavery, or after slavery was so-called ended, even though it never was. The point I'm getting at is this: these books were taken out after you, people of color, started to read, after those chains and shackles have been taken off your feet. So we use those books because if you could go back to 1611, those books would be in the King James Bible. King James actually put those things in the Bible, and it's pertinent to what's going on today. And that's the reason why we use those books. Not only that, we use history. We use the history of the other man to tell you where we came from. They told y'all that those Israelites, that those people who are in Israel right now are the real Jewish people, when in fact the real Jewish people was brown people like you, brother, like you, sister, like you right there, like you right here, sisters, like those little boys that's in your car. And the reason why it's important is because we need to know who we are. Our church accepts all people, and everybody needs to know that. We got white people in our church, people of every race and every nationality. Japanese, it don't matter, but the point is the people of the book are us. We need to know that because the Most High has a special plan for us, and that's what we out here to tell y'all. So a lot of y'all out here worshiping a whole bunch of different guys. Give me 1 Corinthians, let's go to 8 and 5. 1 Corinthians 8 and 5. Let's start right there. Because there's people out here that they worship a lot of different guys, but a lot of them, they don't even know what they worship. As the book say, ye know not what ye worship. That's the way it is. Let's go to 1 John, let's go to 2:18. I believe that's what I need right there. You in 1 Corinthians, young brother? All right, give me what you got.
For though there be that are called gods.
For though there be that are called gods. And I need you to give it to me good, young brother. For those there be that are called gods.
Whether in heaven or in earth.
Whether in heaven or in earth. So what this is saying is this. There's some people, what's up, brother D? I see you over there, Demetrius. Glad you back with us, brother. There are people that's in the earth that are called gods too. You know, you like it says over in the Old Testament, ye are called gods, but you need to understand what that means too. It's not saying that people are actually gods on earth, but you can actually worship people. And in that case, it's really talking about the judges, people that hold your fate in their hands. That's what it's talking about there. But what I'm talking about is people that are worshiping other gods. And those are some of the things that you see on these signs that are out here in front of us. You got people worshiping Buddha. You got people worshiping Allah. Even if you go into the Quran will tell you in their surahs, I believe it's 94:10, that when the Egyptian Pharaoh went into the water, he said that there is no God but the God of the Hebrews. So then you got to think to yourself, even them, if that's in their book, why are they following the God other than the God of the Hebrews? This is because many of the things that were in our books, our records have been taken from us. And that's where I was talking about those books of the Apocrypha. It explains that. It tells you that they're going to take things out of our records and that they're going to hide those things so that we will not find them. But we know that we have to study to show ourselves approved. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but right now, start back from the top where you were, young man.
For as though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be many gods, and lords many.
And lords many. So in other words, what we're saying is this. When somebody comes and you say that there's more than one God, there is more than one God. We're not going to argue that. There is more than one God. Whatever you worship is your God. If you worship in your Lexus, that's your God. If you worship in your 82-inch TV, guess what? That's your God. You can make an idol out of pretty much anything, including people. Okay? But the point is, there's only one most high God. There's only one that's over everything. There's only one that ordained that everything that we see here today and everything that is created was okay. Everything was created through the word, which is Christ. But his father had to put the stamp, or like they say in these days, the rubber stamp on it. He had to put that rubber stamp on it. So what I'm saying to you is this: there are many gods. We're not going to argue that. The question is, which God are you serving? And we're going to get to that too. We're going to get to that. How you doing, officer? Just reading out of the King James Bible, sir. That's what we're going to do, though. We're going to get to the bottom of what's actually in these books that people aren't teaching you. Give me what you got over there.
This is
We were going to start at 18, but since you said that, let's go ahead and start at 15.
Right. This is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world.
Don't love this world. Don't love this world, because there's something greater that is waiting for you. And this is, again, I'm talking to the children of Israel specifically, because the promises, the oracles of God were given to you. But even if you're not of the children of Israel, you still have a chance to be grafted in. You still have a chance to take part in the glorious things that are to come after this life. But you cannot love the things of this world. Read.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.
Nor the things that are in the world. So if you're going, oh man, you went on a vacation. Oh, I just love this beach. I just love this place. I just love these mountains. You can't be loving the things of this world, nor can you be loving the things in the world. Like that, oh, what a feeling Toyota, the commercials, and I'm loving it. Like McDonald's when they feeding you that garbage that's killing our people in our communities. You got ask yourself some simple questions. How can it be that you can go and buy all of this cheap food for $1? It's gotta be poison. It's no way that they can possibly do that for you. It's gotta have fillers in it. It's gotta have some kind of tainted meat or something in it. They gotta be using fake potatoes or something. It's no way. One day you was going to the McDonald's for a value meal and it was like $6, and then all of a sudden you woke up and then it was $1 for everything. How is that possible? How are they doing that and making a profit? Why are they giving you a pop for $1 that's like 32 ounces of death of liquid sugar? That's why our people have all the problems we have. Hypertension in our community. We got obesity in our community. High blood pressure in our community. All of these things, we are all destroyed because we lack some simple knowledge of things. And I'm going to a few different places, but when I'm saying this because I know that a lot of y'all love the things that are in the world. And am I standing on a high horse? No, I'm standing on the sidewalk just like y'all. You know why? Because I was once that person. I was once worried about back in the day. So y'all doing things different with 22s, but yeah, I had my hammers and Vogues. I had a trunk that was rattling when I went down the street. I was doing some things I shouldn't have been doing, smoking some things that was green that I shouldn't have been. I've been there where y'all been at. I've been around the hustlers. I've been around the people that was cooking up stuff, and that's not it. The point is, I walked out of that. And y'all can walk out of that too. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your situation is. I don't care what's going on in your household. There is a way for you to walk out of that. And the first step is for you to make a step right over here across the street. Brother Alfred, how you doing there, brother? All praises to see you again, brother. The first step is for you to walk out and walk towards the light. Right now, we the ones walking around in white with the Bibles in our hands, so the light is shining on us. Get over here. Come over here and talk to us. Get some of this knowledge and get some of this word. Back to the Bible. Read.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
And that's where it goes. You can't put anything before the Most High. And then that trickles down. You can't put anything then before his Son. And then that trickles down, and it just keeps on trickling down and keep on trickling down. The man, you shouldn't be putting things of the world in front of your spouse, in front of your wife. That's your queen. Vice versa. Queen, you shouldn't be putting anything in front of your husband. That is your king. And if that man is following Christ, then you need to continue to follow that man, no matter how hard it might be. If your man is asking you to, not put on those leggings and walk out the street with him and that tight, y'all wear them spaghetti strap tight tank tops, walking around talking about, I'm just going to the store. And if your man is asking you to not do that, you need to not do that. You putting him in a situation. Now he go to the gas station. Now he got all kind of men all on your rear end, with their eyes bugged out. You putting him in a situation. You putting him in a situation for them to come and say something to you. So now he's got to defend your honor when really it shouldn't even be about that. If you was honorable, you will be out here dressed appropriately. The Bible talks about that too. Get into Proverbs 31, and then you're going to see what it is to be a virtuous woman. And like I said, it's not all about women, because us men have to walk rightly as well. Us men have to be the example. Us men have to be the ones to show these little children what we should be doing. How you doing, sister? Go ahead. I see you with those children over there. We just talking about the book of the Bible. For all of you little kids that are walking by right now, it's what, about 5 of y'all. You need to understand that the people in the Bible were brown people like you. Hold your head up high when you walk down the street. You heard of Jesus Christ before? Y'all heard? You have? Okay, you little people. Christ was a black man, just like you. He had hair that was white and woolly. It looked just like your grandmama and your uncle's hair. He looked just like you. You all remember that. Remember this day that somebody was out here and told you that you are the people of the Bible. Don't ever let anybody take that away from you. Read.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father.
And that's it. If you're looking at something and you're looking too hard and lusting after it, you need to understand that that is not of the Father. If you're looking at that car, that is not of the Father. Like I said before, and I was, worried about getting fresh paint and hammers and vogues and bumps and all of that. That was nothing from the Father. People get things nowadays and they saying, oh, well, I'm blessed because I was praying for this Jaguar and the Most High gave it. No, he didn't. Satan gave you that so that you can ride around flossing with your nose up in the air and have people thinking that you have people thinking you something that you not. Thinking that you something because you have a material thing. That's got nothing to do with that. If you lusting after those things, and like I said, I don't care what it is. It could be a shirt, it could be a pair of shoes, it could be a TV, whatever. It could be a person. It don't matter what it is. If you lusting after it, that's not of the Father. Matter of fact, if you lusting after the church, that's not of the Father, because you don't lust after the church. You love the church. You want to hear the word. You want to drink the milk, and then you want to eat the meat. You want to take the word in, and once you get a little bit, then you want to learn a little bit more about it. Then it start to get good to you. Then you're going to get to a point where you're going to say, man, I don't know, this is a little bit hard, but you keep with it. And then the Most High is going to reveal to you all of the great things that are in store for you. But if you lusting after the church, if you looking at the church, and if you looking at us right here and saying, man, I just want me a white shirt like those dudes. I want to wear fringes like those dudes. I want to get on the mic like that guy. Then you lusting after the church. That's not what we want. And that's not what we need. What we need people to do is work. People to get out here and talk to people in the community like we talking to all of y'all right now. People to get out here to prophesy into the wind so that even if these people driving by don't stop, that something happens where somebody a block over who has their window open hears this. And if your feet are moving, then move them on down to where we are and have a conversation with us. Not a confrontation with us, a conversation with us. Because what we're going to do is pull out the Bible and scripture. This is not like the Sunday church where it's just do what I said because I said. This is a church where we say, here's what the Bible says. Here's what the book says. And then we go into those things. Read.
The lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Verse 17. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Father.
Now let's stop right there, because the lust of this world is going to pass away. It's a fleeting moment. Think about it. The older you get, the more time seems to go faster. The days go by faster. You have to think about that for a second. The world is going to pass away, and you're going to pass away. And 30, 40, 50 years ago, years from now, maybe people will remember you. Maybe they will not remember you. But the point is, that car that was new, when Too Short had that green Benz back in like 1986, 1987, that's old. It's passed away. It's a new Benz now, right? All of these things that you see here that you lusting after, at some point they become old, and those things pass away. Those things are of the world. Read.
But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever.
But if you do the will of the Most High, you abide forever. What does that mean? What that means is that you do the will of the Father, and you have a blessing. You have eternity waiting for you. And if you don't believe me, most people, I'll tell you this, most people believe that there's a hell. Even if you don't believe that there's a God, you believe there's a hell. What's going on, brother? Hey, take a look at these signs if you haven't already, man. It's going to show you right here that you, brown brother, your hair that's like wool, you are actually the people of the Bible. Give me Revelations chapter 1 and give me down to 14. I'm going to show you where Christ actually had hair that looked like yours. Your hair looks white like wool, brother, and that was Christ himself. Not only that, all right, brother, just keep on listening, though. Come back and talk to us. Give me that revelation so this brother can get this.
The book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
So now we talking about Christ. Good catch, young man. We was going to start at 14. And this young brother is, how old are you, young brother?
I'm 15.
15 years old. This young brother said, no, I know that this brother really want to get verse 13 first. Because we're going to talk about Christ. We're going to talk about who it is, the man that's in the clouds in the midst of the candlesticks. How you doing there? We just reading out the King James Bible, telling our people that black people are the people of the book. Abraham was black. Christ was black. Moses was black. All of these things have been hidden from us. And the reason why we're saying that to our people is because we need to be held to a higher standard. We shouldn't be living the way we living. We shouldn't be going out to the clubs and trying to get it in with everything that's there, you know, when the lights is down and we get a little bit tipsy. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. Continue to read, young man.
And gird about the paps with a golden girdle.
And he's girded about the paps with a golden girdle. That means he had a garment down to the foot. You've seen those things that sometimes you see, like the Middle Eastern people, the Muslims, the Ishmaelites. They wear those things, a garment down to the foot, and it has like a sash or a belt around the waist. Well, guess what? The Ishmaelites got it from us. They descendants of Abraham too. It's just that they, I don't know, 18th cousin down the road or something like that for all the generations that went past. The point is, they're descendants of Abraham too, but the promises were not given to them. That's the deal. The promises were to come through the lineage and come through Isaac, come through Jacob, okay, and then come through Isaac. That's where the promises were going to come through, not through Ishmael. Okay, come through Isaac and then come down into Jacob. So do they have some things that are similar to us? Yes, but they got those customs from us. They cover their hair because that's what we did. The Hebrews did that. That's what we did. They wear those long garments because that's what we did. The reason you don't do that is because of what I told you before. They took the books out of the Bible that explain all of this to you. That's the reason why you don't know it. That's the reason why you look at them, and even if you don't agree with their religion, you say, well, I think those people must be kind of righteous. Look at the way that they're dressed. But the thing is that they got it from us. How you doing, man? How you doing, young lady? All right. But that's the reason why they do those things, okay? If you had the Apocrypha, then you would know. You would go in that book and it would talk about Susanna and it would tell you how she dressed. She had a whole, what they call a hijab, a whole scarf, only eyes covered, garments down to her foot. You would know exactly who she was. You would know who she was. But you don't know that because they took those books out of the Bible, and the Apocrypha itself said that they would do those things and they would hide those records from us, and it would be up to us to go out and unearth those things. That's what we're here for. We got elders in our church. We got deacons in our church. We got brothers and sisters in our church that are actually doing the research and going into the records and finding this information. Continue to read, young man.
Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool.
His head and his hairs was white like wool. All you got to do is take your phone and then just Google wool and see what picture comes up. Just go to images after you Google wool and look at the image that you see there. And that white wool, that grayish color wool, it looks just like our grandmama's hair, our great grandmama's hair. Sister, you in this red truck? I'm talking about, yeah, it talked about Christ's hair being white like wool. Sister, you are the people, sister. This book is about us. They told us that this was a book about white people. This book is actually about us. Now, white people can be included. We love all people, but at the end of the day, our people need to know that we are the people of the book. And the reason it's important is because we got to get back to following what God said. And I'm not going to even go into a whole bunch of Mosaic laws. Follow the Big Ten. Let's just follow the Big Ten and let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen to this community. Let's see if we would have to come here and sweep up glass. How you doing there, man? Reading out of the Bible here. What would we have to? We wouldn't have to come here and sweep glass up off of this sidewalk. If you was living just by the 10 Commandments and loving your neighbor, you would see the glass and say, I need to move that so that somebody doesn't walk and cut their foot. It would be something just as simple as that. In any case, keep reading, young man.
As white as snow.
His hair was as white as snow. Read.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Eyes as a flame of fire. We also have precepts for that as well that goes all the way back to the Old Testament to verify who Christ was when he was coming. Read.
Verse 15. And his feet were like unto fine brass.
And his feet. His feet. Now we're talking about skin. Now, back then they didn't wear shoes. They wore sandals. His feet, what was his feet? Say that again.
Were like unto fine brass.
His feet were like unto fine brass. Brass is a yellowish metal. Okay? Some people might think that a penny is brass, a penny is copper. So it wasn't that dark, but brass can be a brownish, yellowish metal. But then here's what happens. What's going to happen to that?
As if they were burned in a fire.
As if they burned in a fire. So if you take anything, any type of metal, and you put it into a fire, it's going to turn dark. Like if you get a barbecue grill and you put it in the fire, it's going to turn black. In this case, if you just take brass in this form, it's going to be like a yellowish, brownish metal. But now you put that into the fire. How you doing? You put that into the fire, and now it's going to turn into a dark brown color. Read.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
And his voice was as the sound of many waters. So think of it like, I don't have a deep voice, but think of somebody with a voice that when they talk, it just shakes the room. Think of like a Isaac Hayes or a Barry White. Not to say that they're anything like Christ, because those brothers was on something different. But I'm trying to give you an idea, a voice that carries, a voice that rumbles, a voice that thunders. That's what you will be dealing with when Christ comes back. When the sky crack and you see him, that's what you're dealing with. But let's get back to what we're saying in the description. Here's a guy that came out of the sky with his clothes down to the foot. It's important because that's the only thing that you could see other than his head, hands, and then that was it. Everything else was covered up. But then it says that his hair was white like wool, which is like ours. Then it says that his feet was like brass, which is like a sort of yellowish, sort of the brownish type of metal that was burned in the fire. So that's going to mean that his feet are dark brown. And you have to assume that if his feet was that color, his arms, his hands, the rest of his body, his head, all of those other things, you have to assume that they was the same color as well. That's where we was going with that. We got a little bit off track because the brother was walking by, but I wanted to continue that to edify anybody else that's listening to understand why we were saying that. We have other scriptures too that we can go to prove this. Go ahead and continue reading where you were.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard...
Oh, now something's getting ready to come. He said, little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard. And here's why I'm going to this. I told you earlier that there were many gods. There is a Shiva. Yeah, there is. There is a Allah. They're worshiping all these different gods. As a matter of fact, there is actually a Jehovah, and it's not the God that you think he is. Matter of fact, we got books to prove it. I got a book to show you that when you look up Jehovah, that it's this same guy that they call Metatron. And when you look up Metatron, it's a guy that's got like horns coming out of his head and stuff. What you would call Satan, what you would call the devil. Some of y'all will call him Pan. I don't care what you call him. Somebody running around in the woods with horns coming out of their head, that guy ain't kosher, as they would say. All right? So at the end of the day, you can go into the book. You can go into the witches have books that tell you who this person is, that the tetragrammaton comes from him. They have books that will tell you that came from a Canaanite god who was before the name of God was even revealed unto Moses. We're going to get to that a little bit later too. But let me go back to where I was, because I told you there are gods many. But is there only one devil? Is there really only one devil? Read.
Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist...
Oh, here we go. Let's start that over again. As ye have heard...
As ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many.
Whoa. You have heard that the Antichrist shall come. So they tell you there's going to be this guy dressed in black. He's going to come and he's going to be looking all wicked and devilish, and the Antichrist is going to come. But now we're going back into biblical times. Right now we're talking about St. John. And what does it say? It says that not only is there an Antichrist, yeah, you heard about him, but what is there? There what?
There are many Antichrists.
There are many Antichrists. Anybody that's against the church and against the Most High is an Antichrist. If you against Christ, then it's an Antichrist. What's going on, fellas? Y'all look like some Hebrews in there. Already know that got the fringes with the border of blue. That's what I'm shalom. Shabbat Shalom. That's what I'm talking about. Our people are waking up and it can't be denied. We're going to wake you up too, Mr. Fireman. I'm telling you, your people, brown-skinned people like you, are the people of the book. Moses, he put his hand into his robe and pulled it out and it turned white. That was a miracle. Then he put it back and then it became, pulled it out again, there was flesh color again. He couldn't have already been the Caucasian, right? Not that that's super important. It's important though for y'all because y'all need to know that y'all the people of the book. I'm not going to just get stuck on the color. I want to get stuck on the message. I want to get stuck on the message of Christ and that the fact that you need to follow Christ. All right, shalom, brothers. Get the message that you need to follow Christ. There's only one way to get into the kingdom, and that's through the straight gate. That's if you follow Christ, and then you can get to the Father. And then, brother, before you leave, I got scriptures for you. I can pull them out. We can get the Revelations 1st chapter for you, Acts 13 for you. We got a few scriptures we can pull out to show you what we're talking about. But I'm going to keep reading about this Antichrist because a lot of people think that there's only one Antichrist. Can you start that from the top again, brother?
Verse 18. This is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many antichrists.
And now that's what we're saying, that there's many antichrists. There's all kinds of people that's coming against the word. And if you coming against the word, and if you look at your TV and you listen to your radio, you can't help but see that there are many people that are against the word. Everybody will tell you that you don't have to go to church. All you have to do is be a good person. Some will tell you be a good person and read the Bible. All of that's anti-biblical because the Bible actually says don't forsake the assembly. You need to get together with other people. I'm gonna tell you, I was having a rough week, but now I'm on this mic with my brothers and I feel energized. Even if I wasn't on the mic, it's just being around my brothers and my sisters in the spirit that's here. That's why you can't forsake the assembly. You come here, you learn, you get truth, and you get knowledge. You don't walk away and say, I'm gonna go cut my grass or do other things. You come and you be around your people. You give them strength and they give you strength. Young man, give me Acts 13:1, just so I want to make sure that Mr. Fireman hears this too. You continue to read for me. We should get the next verse.
19.
Yep.
Well, I'll finish this.
Yes, sir.
There are many antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time.
That it is the last time, that we are in the end days. So now we know this. Read.
Verse 19. They went out from us, but they were not of us.
This is important because there were some people that did have some of the doctrine. They went out. They are Israelites. They could even be blood Israelites, but they were not of us. They didn't have a correct doctrine. And this is why, and this is not to offend anybody, because except for our young people here, we were all raised under a different doctrine. We called on Jehovah, or we called on the Tetragrammaton, or Yahweh, right? We all came from a different doctrine. Some of us were Muslims, some were Egyptologists, right? But in this case, we're saying that there's some people that even know some of the doctrine that went out, but they were not of us. They were not of the fold. Read.
They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would not doubt have continued with us.
And there we go. And what I'm saying to that is, you see all these splinterings that go on and churches leave and brothers and sisters, they leave the church. All that's saying is that you really wasn't with the body, because you don't cut off, your nose to spite your face, right? Even if you have a disagreement with a brother, you know what I'm saying? You don't leave the church because of that. If you disagree with a sister, you don't leave the church because of that. You can't leave and say, I have the correct doctrine, but I don't like these people, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna teach something over there. You can't do that. You have to be with your brothers and sisters and you grow together, because we're all one body, from the fingernail to the hair follicle to the heart that's beating within inside of us. Read.
They would no doubt have continued with us, but they went out, that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us.
And that's what's going to happen, and that's what you see happening now. When you look at what's going on in the Sunday churches, and you see that a lot of people are turning away from the Sunday church. A lot of people are leaving the Sunday church. You want to know why? Because when you go to your pastor and you ask him, well, were the people really black in the Bible? They tell you it doesn't matter, instead of answering your question. Instead of just saying, yeah, they were, but we're not going to focus on that. They're going to tell you, as a matter of fact, all of y'all that's listening in these cars right now, when you go to church tomorrow, ask them, was Moses black? Was Christ black? Were the Hebrews black? Ask them. And I bet you they're going to evade that question. They're going to dance around it instead of just answering the question. And that's what we're saying. People are walking away because you're not finding the truth that's in there. And when I say there's gods many, talked about Yahweh, talked about Jehovah, even Jesus. Do you know that there was no letter J in the alphabet? Not even in the Greek. They didn't even have a letter J at the time when Christ walked around. The letter J didn't even come around until like around the 15th century. So that means there was no way that they ever called him Jesus. It's like me calling you. So it's a letter that don't exist. I just made it up. It don't exist. So there's no way that was his name. So now we got to find out what was his name. Now I'm going to get off the mic here in a minute, but just so that you know, his name is Yeshua. It means my savior. Yeshua means savior or to save. You can go into the Dead Sea Scrolls. I have one over here with me. If you don't believe me, come and look at it. I will show you exactly what it says. Give me Acts 13:1.
The book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was in Antioch certain prophets and teachers.
So now we're at the church at Antioch. This was for the fireman because I wanted to make sure that he heard this too. Understand that we love everybody. Don't care what color you are. Our job is to do what Matthew said, what Christ said in Matthew before he left. Go forth and preach the gospel to all nations. That means to all races. That's what we do. In our church, we have all different colors of people. But I want to make it clear that our people need to understand that we are under a different covenant than these other nations. It's just like if your father tells you to do something, he's not telling your neighbor's kid to do it. He's talking to you. You see what I'm saying, sir? He's talking to us. The Most High is talking to brown people with beards that are gray and woolly, just like yours, sir. Read.
As Barnabas and
Simeon. We're talking about Simon Peter right here. Y'all know who Barnabas is. I don't have time to go where I want to go, but Barnabas is a brother. If you go further back in Acts 4:36, for all of y'all that's watching this on the YouTube, or if you're at home listening to that, Barnabas is going to tell you that he was a Levite and Moses was a Levite. So if Barnabas is black, which I'm about to prove to you, then that means Moses was too. Read.
That was called Niger.
That was called what?
Niger.
Now that word right there, if you look it up in the Strong Concordance, which is the Super Bible Dictionary, this is the only reason we use the King James Bible, because every word that's in there, we can go back to the Hebrew or the Greek that it was translated from. That word Niger is translated as Neger. What's going on, brother? Come over and talk to us when you get a minute. It's translated as Neger. That's what they called us when we was down south, when they was whipping us with those chains and so forth. Now don't be ignorant and call your people that. All right, don't be ignorant like Jay-Z and some of these other knuckleheads on the song calling your people like that. But what you need to understand is that word actually means black. So that was saying that Simon Peter, and Barnabas, these brothers was called black. And then it's going to go on and list some other people. Just finish that off, brother.
And Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul.
Very good. I know that's tough for you. This brother's only 15, but he's up here reading the Bible, and we're going to teach them while they're young. And the point I was getting at, this is for Mr. Fireman that was in front of us here, was to show you that these people in the Bible at Antioch, this is when the Holy Spirit came down on everybody. Remember, flames, tongues of fire came down on their heads, right? These people were called Neger, which means black. Look it up in your Strong's Concordance, book of Acts 13:1. And then go look up Acts 4:36 and see that Barnabas himself was a Levite, excuse me. My time's up, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you've been edified and come back and see us again, or better yet, come over and talk to us right now.
Thank you very much, brother. The water. I'm Deacon Anya of the Gathering of Christ Church. This is the Gathering of Christ Church, GOCC Cleveland. I just want to take a moment right now just to address everybody while we're out here. We're out here for truth. If you don't take anything away from this today, take away the fact that we're out here presenting truth. Things that you don't know about. Things about the Bible that you don't know about. And by the way, the Bible is the most important book in the universe. If you don't know that. I'll say it again. The Bible, the King James Bible, is the most important book in the universe. So I wanted to get, where's Gabar Rakar real quick? Let me get him on the line. We're going to go into a little something because next Sabbath is a holy day coming up. Get your Bible and get me, let's just go to it real quick. Next week is a high holy day according to the Bible, known as the blowing of the trumpets, which is why I'm holding this shofar. So we're going to talk a little bit about the blowing of the trumpets. Just a little something to share with everybody out here that's listening and driving by. To let you know that there are holy days in the Bible that the Most High wants you to do. Not holidays. Hold on for a moment. It seems like every time we come out here on the Shabbat and we bring church out to you all fine people and we street preach, ambulances want to come rolling up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. But that's okay. So we're going to go into the Bible because there's holy days according to the Bible that we are supposed to be following, not holidays. See, holidays is a European fabrication. Has nothing to do with the Bible whatsoever. So since it's not of the Bible, it is deemed heretical, which is short for heretic. So these holidays that you are partaking in, like Christmas, not in the Bible. Christ never did or said anything about Christmas. Easter is not in the Bible. In fact, when you look up that word, it's really Pashash, which is what?
Passover.
Passover. So Easter isn't in the Bible. Neither is Halloween or Thanksgiving. So since it's not in the Bible, it is deemed heretical, heretic. So we're going to go into the Bible because next Sabbath is a high holy day known as the blowing of the trumpets. And at the end of this, I'm going to blow the trumpets to warn the people. So we're going to go into Leviticus chapter 23 or 22, I believe, 23, and we're going to read about this high holy day known as the blowing of the trumpets. Read.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 23. And the Most High Ahiah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So we shouldn't be doing any servile work. You shouldn't be going to the marketplace, buying or selling anything. The Sabbath is a high holy day. Read.
But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Ahiah.
So that's what this is about. It's the memorial blowing of the trumpets. So we're going to blow the trumpets because it's giving out a signal or a sign through sound to alert the children of Israel that the Day of Atonement is coming and is at hand. Let's get that Day of Atonement. So this high holy day is to alert you of a much more significant high holy day. Read.
This is Leviticus chapter 23, verse 26. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
The water. So that's what this high holy day is about. To alert the children of Israel that the day of atonement is coming at hand, where you shall afflict your souls. Read.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day.
And you shouldn't be doing any work in that same day. It is a holy convocation in all of your dwellings.
For it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall be not afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people.
So when that high holy day comes, we are to afflict our souls. We are to fast. We are to pray. We are to afflict our souls. So I'm getting ready to blow the trumpets to alert my people that the day of atonement is at hand. All praises to Ahia. So let me get Ariah up here in a moment. He's going to be our next speaker. And he's going to go into some more truth. That's what we out here. We out here to wake up our people about the truth, which is you are the people of the Bible. You're the Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And since you're the Hebrews of the Bible, you have a Hebrew God you've been ignoring. It's not your fault. You've just been lied to. We've been under a biblical curse. But now, since we're telling you, what you gonna do about that Hebrew? What you gonna do about the Hebrew God that you don't know? That's why we out here. We're out here to direct you back to the God of the Hebrews. Since you're a Hebrew, and any so-called African American around here that's calling themselves such, you are the Hebrews we're talking about, brother. Did you know that you're a Hebrew according to the Bible? And that you have a Hebrew God, brother? But more importantly, we're out here because we love our people, and the Most High God of the Hebrews wants you to come back through his son, who is the Hamashiach. You call him Jesus Christ, but Jesus is a Greek name. He didn't have a Greek name when he was born. He had a Hebrew name. He was born in Bethlehem, right? That's in Israel. So he's Jew. He's Jew to the heart, to the core. So what's his Hebrew name? That's what you ought to be asking. Ariah, come on up, brother.
Good morning. Brother Ariah here with the Gathering of Christ Church. Back on another Sabbath. Just going to continue from our brother's been speaking to y'all today. And I got some troubling news this week. Good friend of mine for years, 3 of his boys has been incarcerated. And it just made me think about Proverbs and about how we supposed to train up our children.
And impose upon them what God never intended.
He was like, nah, that's it.
No, he turned up his own little Bible thing, and he ain't trying to hear that.
Whether they hear it for bear, see that brother right there? That's Hosea 4:6 right there. Lack of knowledge. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. He just rejected knowledge right there. And see, that's the thing. We out here, we trying to show y'all this knowledge. We trying to bring y'all back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Well, let me jump back into it. So I got some news this week. Good friend of mine, his children, 3 of his boys were incarcerated. And it just got me to thinking about, like, we got to do better. We got to pay attention to our children. We got to raise our children. Hold that. But it's sad to me because they're good kids. College bound, one of them college, O State, 3.5 GPA. The other 2 are seniors in high school, excellent basketball players. But something happened where they felt like they had to go out here and commit a robbery. what made me think, we gotta teach them this Bible, because this world, no matter how good you think your child is, if he's not grounded in this Bible, then it means nothing. Where I can see kids like that with promising futures to make a mistake like that. So the Bible tells us that we got to train up our children. And it's a reason for that, because you got to understand that children is the future. So you know how you see little children and they, 8, 5, whatever how old they are, they disrespectful, they running around, and you can just tell the home training, that the lack of home training that they have. So we see that, and then it just made me think like, well, if this child is acting like this at 5, 6, 7 years old, how is he going to be when he turns into an adult? So you got to understand, untrained children are going to turn into untrained adults. So let's see what Proverbs say about training up a child.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So that's clear cut right there. Train up a child in the way he should go, and he won't depart from it. You understand? Because the children is the future. These children out here, they doing all type of unspeakable things because they don't have any home training. They're training themselves. They're raising themselves. Absentee parents, absentee mothers, absentee fathers. This is all on us. The Bible is clear in that. Hold on, read that again.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So that's the opposite too. So if a child is out here being unruly and disrespectful, if that's the way he was taught, if that's what he's seen in his household, then that's how he's going to be when he's an adult. It's hard to teach an adult. Once they get to be an adult, it's hard to put that back in them. So that's why it says train up a child in the way they should go, and they won't depart from it. And we'll see better results. Let me get Isaiah 3:12. Because these children, it's a stressful thing, and it's sad that we going through this. You got it. Yeah, he got it. So it's like the children running the households. Children, parents are scared of their own children. Like, how can that be? But it's clear you allowed that. You didn't put that fear on them. You let them do what they wanted to do. Now it's backfiring on you. You spoiled the child. Now you paying for it. You spoil something, it's no good. You hear that expression all the time? I'm gonna give my kids everything they want. I'm gonna spoil them. They gonna have everything. But if you understand what spoil means, is you gonna drink some spoiled milk? It's no good. So when you spoil your child, that's gonna make them no good. You understand that? So let me get the book Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, which lead thee, cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
So the women rule over the households because the men not there, and the children are their oppressors. We got to do better. Like this pattern is just destroying us. It's the same pattern over and over. Single parent households, then the children just doing what they want. Then they become fathers and do the same thing. Then they become fathers and do the same thing. That's that perpetual curse that we going through. This is why this Bible is so important. Like if we follow these instructions, it'd be less headaches, it'd be less problems, it'd be less crime, it'd be less crying. But we want to do our own thing. We want to do our own thing. There's no discipline. And these children, they know, they smart. They figure they ain't gonna get in trouble. Or she just gonna yell at me. I'll be back outside. She ain't gonna do it. She ain't at home anyway. She ain't never there. I'm not gonna beat my children. The Bible says if you beat them, they shall not die. This world, it's the opposite. They call it child abuse. You can't even discipline your own child. But then when your child grow up to be a terrorist out here robbing people, stealing, and they wonder why, because they never had discipline. They did it their way. Come on, y'all, we got to be smarter than that. Let me get Proverbs 23:14. Proverbs is a good book. It talks about correction. It talks about living right. It talks about just about everyday life. Proverbs is an excellent book to get into. Talks about the things that you say out your mouth. Just everyday living. Got about beat it. 23:14.
I'll start at 13.
Yeah. So like I said, the world is opposite against the Bible. The world will tell you, no, you can't beat your kids. You can't discipline them. You can't whoop them. They protect it. But like I said, when they grow up out here, gun toting, robbing and stealing, 9 out of 10 because they didn't have any discipline growing up. They was able to do what they wanted. And then when the first time somebody tell them no, they don't have no understanding of that. So the world says don't beat your children. Don't discipline them. Put them in time out. But we gonna see what the Bible says.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 13. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die.
He definitely won't die. He'll be a little sore, but understand, he's gonna learn something from this. Read.
Verse 14. Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
So I'd rather take a little beating to get my soul delivered from hell than to spare that rod and then be out here on the way to hell, because that's what's going to happen. And we see that. That's why the prisons are filled up. The juvenile systems are filled up. And they don't care. They'll throw the book at them. But we got to do our part. We can't let this happen. We are to blame as well. We got to raise these children. It's real important. I'm seeing the youth younger and younger going to jail. 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. And they're not getting any better. They're going in young children coming out straight, angry men. And the cycle continues. One system to the next. We're going to stay on Proverbs. Proverbs got a lot of wisdom in there. Read what you got.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes.
So you ever heard somebody when they about to whoop their child, it's like, man, you don't want to whoop them, but you got to do it. You understand? That's an investment. You got to do it. You got to whoop them. You love them because you feel bad after you chastise them. But guess what the Bible says? It say God chastises who he loves. And you got it right there in Proverbs. They might not see it now, but they're going to appreciate that in the long run. And I'm somebody that can vouch for that. Because I was able to have free reign growing up, doing what I wanted to do. And I paid for it. And when I got older, I'm like, man, I wish I had more discipline. I wish somebody was on my neck. I did what I wanted to do. I'm 15, 16 years old, selling dope, coming in 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Ain't got to answer to nobody. Yes, sir. Eventually, I got a felony, couple felonies. Because I was able to do what I wanted to do. We got to understand, we got the discipline. I see it all the time. Our children can do no wrong. We know we got little children out here that's disrespectful, but we making excuses for them. We got to quit that. They're going to be looking for you to make excuses for them the rest of their life. Their whole life. Ma. 35 years old, still living with your moms. Let me get that again.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 13. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Verse 14. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
It sounds harsh though, but it's real. We can't question this Bible. We just got to do it. Just like how a parent tell you to do something, you just got to do it. God is the Father, so we need to listen to him. We've been doing stuff our way all this time, and it ain't working out for us. Let me get Proverbs 29:15. We just got to do it. Discipline them children. When they get out of line, check them. Children out here cursing, being disrespectful, people laughing. They don't know that disrespect gonna turn. They're gonna start disrespecting them. It's funny at first, until that little 6-year-old is 16 and he terrorizing your house. Now you ain't got no control. I don't know what to do with this boy. He's stressing me out. Well, because you didn't discipline him early. That's what this is all about. So when I see these children out there, I can see it now. No home training. No discipline. You can see his future, dead or jail. And that's the future of most of our youth, and it's sad. Because that's what they got for you, death or jail. You got to understand, the Bible tells us the wages of sin is death. That ain't going to never change. Read what you got.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. Verse 16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. Verse 17. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give delight unto thy soul. Verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Man, that was me. That was me in there. You leave a child alone, that was me. I was left alone. So I did what I wanted to do. I didn't have to ask my mother to stay out. I just stayed out. And she didn't even say nothing. That's deep. You gotta understand, when you get that correction, they gonna learn from it. They gonna learn from it. They do something wrong, you whoop that butt, they gonna think twice about it. Because the Bible says so. You follow this Bible, you will have that peace. You will have that peace. And the world will have it the other way. He don't love you. Why he whooping you? Well, why you acting up? I ain't whooping you for. I'm not abusing you. It's a difference. The world calls it abuse. We call it a butt whooping. It ain't nothing but a butt whooping. Everybody need their butt whoop sometimes. That's the problem. It's adults right now that need their butt whoop. Let me get Hebrews 12:11. So like I said, when I was younger, see, we don't understand as children. This is why we have parents. Because if we rule ourselves, look what happened. We need parents. But if your parent is a child as well, then it's like that's the blind leading the blind. You know? You need guidance. I had to tell my son one time, look, just listen, I know more than you. It ain't arrogance, it's just the truth. I know more than you. Just listen to me. And as a parent, you want the best for your child, you're not gonna steer him in the wrong direction. Like, just listen to me. And your child still gonna love you. We worry about our children. We worry about our children. If we whoop them, they ain't gonna they ain't gonna love us no more. They'll get over it. They'll be okay. That's your child, not your best friend. That's the problem. We treating our children like our best friends. So y'all be cool, and then when it's time to discipline them, they like, hold on, dude, we was just, nah, I'm your parent. Gonna whoop that butt. Let me get Hebrews 12:11. So if a child had his way, he'd just do what he want to do and keep doing it. If there ain't no consequences behind it, that's with anybody. If I can go in a bank and steal all the money out of it and don't nothing happen, don't you think I'm gonna keep going in the bank and stealing? Even this wicked world got consequences for that. You're gonna go to jail, right? So if this wicked world discipline you, what you think the Most High gonna do? And we all know this world wicked. Read what you got.
Hebrews 11 and 12. Salakia 12 and 11. Now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Right. So when you first get that butt whooping, you like, man, your butt hurting. You like, I hate them. They get on my nerves. It don't feel good. But eventually, you understand and you learn from it. Like I said before, he chastens who he loves. So sometimes you got to take that and understand that that's a lesson. Because we always wonder about the wicked. We see the wicked, like, man, he been doing wicked for 15, 20 years and ain't nothing happened to him. Just wait on it. But the Most High, he gonna chasten who he love quick. So you rather that quick chastening than, yeah, because, let me get Galatians 6:7. We gotta quit worrying about the wicked. Ain't nothing happening to him. Why he still prospering? Why he still living good? Listen, that judgment coming. Got it. That judgment coming. Got it. Read what you got.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. Ahiah is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
So you reap what you sow. So you got somebody out here that's been living foul their whole life. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that's what he gonna reap. So you shouldn't even worry about him, because he gonna get it. He's gonna get that. We worry about the wrong thing sometimes. We looking across the street when we should be looking at ourselves. Look at yourself. Get yourself in order. The wicked gonna have their day. It just ain't reaping season. It's coming. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Same thing with how you bringing up your child. You reap what you sow. So if you around your house neglecting your child, what you think how they gonna grow up? You gonna get the same results. It's like we don't have no understanding of that. Some of this stuff is just real simple. It's real simple. So the bottom line is, train up a child. That's the bottom line. Because like I said before, a disrespectful child is going to grow into a disrespectful adult. And then these children have to be accountable as well. Let me get Exodus, the 5th commandment. Honor thy father and thy mother. And these children have to be accountable as well. You have to honor your mother and your father. There's consequences behind that as well. Being disrespectful. When you have a parent doing their best and trying to make sure that you learning the right things, and you disgracing your parents. Let me get that in Exodus.
Exodus 20:12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So these children got to honor thy father and thy mother, that their days may be long. So that's a commandment with promise. So what I get out of that is that if I don't honor my father and my mother, that my days can be cut short. And who want their days cut short? Who want their days cut short? Not me. That's one thing about me. In all my wickedness, I never was disrespectful to my mother. I never cursed her out. Granted, I was doing things in the street I shouldn't have been doing, but I never cursed her out. I never cursed her. Always loved her. Never blamed her for nothing. Because we'll blame our parents for our shortcomings. And maybe we probably right. We could be right. But I still never did that. Because I still had choices. I still had choices. Let me get Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1. Ooh, it's hot. So just going off about honoring thy father and thy mother and how your days could be long or they could be short. So y'all children need to think about that. Where some people think, well, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna die anyway. If he want me dead, then I'm just gonna be dead. If this was meant to happen, it's gonna be meant to happen. Well, you have a choice in these matters. You have a choice. So if you're forgetting out these laws, look at the trade-off. So we've been making our bed and just laying in it. For real, that's what's been going on. How can you shun this book when all this is telling you just how to live right, how to live righteous, how to live a long, full, healthy life? But we want to shun this book. We out here talking and people act like we just talking crazy out here. Like we saying wrong. We not telling y'all to go do nothing wrong. Once again, the world is the opposite of what this Bible has to say. We not telling nobody out here to go rob and steal. We telling y'all not to go rob and steal. We telling y'all how to live a righteous life. We was on the other side of the coin as well. So I just don't understand when people come past and we out here speaking this truth and they reject the knowledge. But at the same time, the scripture speaks of it. It speaks of the rejection that we're going to get from our people. Because they like living in sin. They like living in sin. Let me get that Proverbs 22:6 again. So what prompted me to talk about this today, like I said, was from my close friend. 3 of his children are in prison. So and this could have been avoided. Like I said, it didn't matter that one of them is in college with a 3.5. The other 2 are basketball players, seniors, with 3.0 grade averages. So what it boiled down to is, if you don't got this book, then it doesn't mean nothing. If they had the fear of God in them, they wouldn't have did what they did. We got to bring up our children on this book. We sit them in front of that TV and they be watching all type of weird stuff. We need to sit this Bible in front of these children. As soon as they old enough to learn and understand, read this Bible to them. This not gonna fail them. Let me get that Proverbs one more time.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So just by seeing how somebody is acting, then you understand how they was trained up. It's that simple. And I'm not saying they're not gonna stumble and fall, but they gonna get right back onto that path. But we got to do our part as parents. We got to train them up. We gonna have to train them up, especially if we know this truth and we withhold it from our children. Because the Most High gonna be looking at us, and we gonna be blamed for that. My name is Ariel with the Gathering of Christ Church, and that's my time.
Yes. Come on. They know who the greatest people on this earth. Turn up. They know. We the salt. We got all the flavor.